Let's use supply and demand. Let's use competition to solve this problem once and for all, rather than just simply cut a big check and hence only incentivize universities and colleges to keep going the way they're going. 40% of graduates take jobs that didn't need a degree. Colleges and universities should be held responsible. Too many times as entrepreneurs, ignore what's happening in the political world because we don't want to get dragged down into the mess. But more today than ever before, we need to have a voice. Otherwise, we're going to be left behind. I started Lurn exactly for this reason. So starting today with Freedom Friday, let me be your voice. What's up, you crazy fighting entrepreneurs? This is Anik Singal, your favorite person in the whole wide world. Maybe not after this episode, because it is a Freedom Friday episode. And before we get started, of course, I want to ask you, have you joined our movement? Come on, entrepreneurs. The biggest thing I teach here in Freedom Fridays is the government, it ain't going to solve our problems. They are not going to free us of all the issues we have. If anything, the track record we've got universal, worldwide. And I'm not talking about parties. I'm talking about government as a whole, okay? No matter who's in power. They're making things worse. They really are, piece by piece. So entrepreneurs, it's up to us. You want to cure world poverty, you want to cure, just every problem that's possible. Entrepreneurs will do it. We'll do it together. We can improve this world. We can improve the economy. That's why I built Lurn. That's why we are making this movement start. Lurn.com, Lurn.com. Free membership, free account, free courses. We are going to put over 10 million people into this platform over the coming years. Do you want to join? Do you want to be a part of that? Do you want to be a part of the movement? It's free to join. Don't stand by on the stand lines. Let's help you become an entrepreneur and help change this world, all right? And as one of the changes that we need to make in this world that we hear talked about a lot by the politicians, and rightfully so, hats off to all of them for talking about this, and that's why the title of this episode is How a Capitalist, myself, would solve the college debt problem. Let me propose a unique approach. Now, I've done some numbers. You know me, I love these episodes. I love to have my numbers out there, so I'm going to go over some of these numbers with you. That's all I've done. I've not done a meaty research. I've not done an economic analysis. I've not talked to brilliant experts on this topic. I might be completely off basis. I'm treating this like a TEDx talk. I'm introducing an idea. That's all. Might be wrong, might be completely off. And listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, go below right now. Leave a comment as you hear my idea. What do you think? What are your thoughts about it? But we've had this approach being introduced a lot right now in kind of the debates going on, which is not a capitalistic approach to fixing a problem. It's been an approach of let's just pay it off, college debt, right? We've got massive problem, ladies and gentlemen, massive problem, completely agree. It is huge. It's a bubble that is so much bigger than the real estate bubble. It is a problem we've got going on. And it makes sense. When I did the numbers, I'm like, whoa, it makes total sense as to why this problem is becoming so big. But the approach that's being proposed is let's just pay it off. Let's just pay for it. Let's let the government pay. Then the taxpayers will pay. But the problem when that happens is I equate it to this. So let's say you've got a kid or child or you've got a friend or whatever, and they fall into a problem. Right? They're like, crap, I have a problem. Like I have a gambling problem. I'm $5,000 in debt. Please help me out. Help me out. I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm going to lose everything. My life's going to fall apart. Everything's going to fall apart. And you feel for them in your heart. And so what do? You cut a check for $5,000 and say, okay, fresh start, brand new beginning. Here you go. Take it. The problem with doing that a lot of times is what do you think they're going to turn around and do again the next day? They're going to hit the casinos. They're just going to do it again. They're going to build that problem again because you didn't empower them. That's why in my TEDx talk, I don't like the idea of giving. I literally fight back against giving. I'm probably one of the most charitable people you'll ever meet. I love helping people, but I don't like to give because when I give, I'm not solving a problem. When I give, I'm actually exacerbating the problem and I'm making a problem become mine for the rest of my life. But I like to empower. So I like to go to places and I would like to, contribute to a potential solution that becomes self-sufficient and solves itself so that if we have to put money in now, that's fine, but we better not have to put money in later. The problem right now is if we go off and just pay all this debt off, use taxpayer money to do it, and then we start using taxpayer money to pay for college education every single year, well, colleges and universities, they win. There has been no disincentive to what's happened. And they will continue to raise their prices. They will continue to exacerbate the situation. They will continue to work off of a model that they're currently working off of, which is not working, which is why we are in this problem. But if you take a capitalistic approach, there might just be a solution. And it's in the word competition. Competition is the basis of why capitalism works, right? The theory behind it is if you let the market dictate terms, and if you open it up, supply and demand kicks in, it adds automatic pricing control, and it makes everybody accountable for themselves, because if they don't do a job to deliver, there is an alternate option. And that keeps you self-checked, because if you don't deliver, you will die. You will wither away because your competition will eat you alive. So my question to you today is this: does college or university really have a true competition? Most kids graduating from high school, I mean, you're in either of two buckets. You're either going to college or you're not. Now, you have a smaller bucket of students who will go to the military, and bless them. Thank you for serving. Amazing. But even when you go to the military, I mean, that is probably the closest thing to competition for colleges and universities, but what tiny percentage of people choose that route? So really, colleges and universities don't have another option. When you go for an interview, they'll ask you, like, do you have a degree or do you not have a degree? And so they have this monopoly, this theoretical, conceptual monopoly, that this piece of paper that carries this value, this piece of paper that carries this value that I'm trying to find out is more and more fictitious. And what universities and colleges keep doing is they keep raising their tuition and their costs so significantly and so crazily that, hey, no one's fighting back. Everyone's still enrolling in college. Let's keep doing it. More and more universities and more colleges start opening up all over the country. But now you might think, I think that's competition. There's more online colleges and online universities today than ever before. Okay, but there's no competition to the concept of college and university. And even these other programs, these other universities and colleges that are opening up, guess what? Their fees, their costs are going through the roof. Why? Because they have to be able to provide the same kind of facilities and resources and gymnasiums and cafeterias and living things and all the things that the big universities provide. If they don't provide it, they lose out to those universities. So guess what? In order to provide those, what do they have to do? Raise costs. So in the end, the concept of college and university is what needs competition. Let me give you some data, and then I'll throw out an idea just to debate. So first of all, right now, our total student loan debt is at $1.56 trillion. Trillion. $1.56 trillion. The total number of U.S. borrowers with student loan debt is 44.7 million people. So if you just assume there's 300 million people in this country, almost a sixth of them, one out of six are walking around with college debt. Pretty interesting. It's like, wow. And the delinquency rate on student loans is 11.4%. You got to go back and think about the real estate crash. Why did it happen? Because the delinquency rates have started to go through the roof. 11.4%. I mean, right now, if someone came to me and said, hey, Anik, can I borrow a couple $100,000 from you? Just so you know, 11% of the time I don't pay it back. And I would be like, yeah, no, thanks. I'm good. I don't need to take that risk. So that's a really horrific delinquency rate. So then I started looking at, like, what does college cost? Right? Because I haven't looked at it in so long. I mean, I graduated in 2005, so it's been a long time. I mean, it's been 14 years. It's so crazy, right? Time flies. So, okay, you ready for the numbers? We'll do a lot of numbers here. All of this data and information will be, of course, in my show notes. Go to Anik Podcast, ANIK, podcast.com. Grab the show notes. All my resources, links, everything is there. Where did I pick up my sources were? Okay, a public 4-year in-state. So I live in Maryland. So if I were to go to University of Maryland, my room and board and tuition and food, this is my total all in, like I can go to college. In-state average in the United States, it's $21,370 a year. That's $85,000, 480 cents. Basically, let's say it's $85,000 to get a degree from an in-state public university, 4-year program. $85,000, okay? I can tell you right now, 4 years ago, that was what it cost to go to the big ones. Like I'm telling you, in the last decade plus, I mean, college costs have more than doubled. It's insane. Okay, now let's keep moving because the numbers get even more scary. A public 4-year out-of-state college. So if I was to go to like Ohio State University, assuming it is a state university, which I think it is, but I live in Maryland, so I'm not an Ohio State resident, it would cost, are you ready? $37,430 a year. Total 4-year cost $149,700. Almost $150,000 to get a degree from an out-of-state public university. That is a university, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's already receiving funds from the government. It's still charging it's charging out of state. Let's look at the in-state. They've been receiving tax money from the residents of that state. Yeah, I lived in Maryland my whole life. So if my kids by the time my kids would go to college, it'll be like triple this probably at this rate. But let's just say I've been paying taxes to Maryland forever. So I would still have to pay $21,370 a year for in-state to go to school. Okay, room and board. I mean, if I got rid of room and board and stuff, I can drop that quite a bit. But still, most kids can't. So $150,000 for the degree from a public out-of-state university. Now let's go private 4-year average. I'm not talking about the Harvards, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about private. I'm just talking about a private university. It could be, this is an average, including the crappy ones and the best ones. And the best ones are way more than this money. I should have checked what Harvard costs. I didn't. But anyways, the number is shocking enough in itself. A private 4-year institution, no matter how good or bad it is, $48,500 a year. That's a total of $194,000 to get a degree in 4 years from this university. Now the numbers start to get even crazier. They get to be nuts. I got this one stat that blew my mind. So basically, here's the deal, guys. We have decided, okay, that basically, if you're going to go private 4-year, you're going to pay about close to $200,000. Let's just round up because it's easy. $194,000 was the number. We're going to say $200,000. You're going to walk away $200,000 you have to pay. Now, if you don't have the funds to pay that, that's what debt you will walk away with, okay? And you're expected to start paying it back the day you graduate. So I did one more number, which was really interesting. A public 2-year program, which is associate's degree, which is usually going to be community colleges, right? And I know I live here in Montgomery County, Maryland, and I know that our community college is supposed to be really good. A public 2-year program is going to cost $12,300 a year. That's a total of $24,000 for a 2-year associate's degree. That is almost 10% of what it costs in a private 4-year institution. All right, but you're saying, Anik, but that degree is not worth this much. If I graduate from a private 4-year institution, I'm going to make a lot more money. Okay, hold that thought. Now let me throw some other interesting facts at you. 40%, this one broke my heart. 40% of college graduates, you ready for this? 40% of college graduates take positions right out of college that never required a college degree. 40%. That includes the private institutions. So I spent $200,000 for my degree, 40% chance I'm going to end up taking a job that never required a degree to begin with. That's crazy. All right, so, and you look further down in the future, years, a decade later, 10 years after your college graduation, 1 in 5, 20% of college grads are still working in a degree, are still working in a job that never required a degree. That's pretty interesting. So, is it worth it to get a degree? Okay. So I looked at what the median weekly earnings were of people that have degrees and don't. So I looked at an associate degree because the point I'm going to make is going to have to deal with vocational training. I think the competition that we have to give to colleges and universities is something called vocational training. And that's about as close to associate's degree as you can get because it's, I'll talk about vocational training in a second. Let me just blow your mind with numbers first. So an associate's degree, you are going to make about $40,000 a year. If you have an associate's degree, you're going to make about $40,000 a year. If you have a bachelor's degree, you are going to make about $56,000 a year. That's a significant amount more. You're making $16,000 more. I get it. I hear you. Wait 1 second. When I said associate's degree, though, I am not talking about people that go off and get vocational training in high-paying jobs that don't require a degree. That I'm going to get into those numbers later. I'm talking about just anyone who gets an associate's degree, 2-year program. But here's the thing, guys. Yes, you are going to make $16,000 less per year. But you also potentially paid an extra $180,000 $200,000 for your degree. That's 12 years. If you paid every penny, so let's say you get your bachelor's degree and you're like, hey, if I had an associate degree, I'd be making $16,000 less per year. So what I will do is I will put every penny of the additional income I'm making per year, every penny, which no one does and no one can do, but I'm going to put every penny of my additional income, I'm going to put it towards paying back my $200,000 debt. It would take 12 years before you had paid back that debt, and now you can finally be in profit. 12 freaking years. In those 12 years, what if you just get damn good at your job? What if you just get so good no one gives a crap? Man, I don't care at Lurn. I don't remember the last time I checked for someone's degree. Now, I will tell you what college means and why I do care about college degrees in some cases, but I don't care about the college degree. I care about what it represents. So we'll talk about that and why vocational training would replace that in a heartbeat. So I looked at the math and I'm starting to realize, man, you are not earning enough just for having a degree. Now listen, if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a true professional that has to get some very hardcore training, by all means do it. By all means, go off and you got to go to college. But let me ask you a question, doctors, because I have a lot of doctors in my family. Do you truly need, to be a doctor, do you truly need 4 years of undergraduate, 4 years of graduate, 4 years of residency, 2 more years of specialization? Do you really need that? Look, I'll pick on my own sister, right? Because I can. She's my sister. So let's say right now, she's a radiologist. She's very successful. She's specialization in breast imaging. She detects breast cancer. She's damn good at what she does. She studied forever. Good for her. Makes good money. And she's happy. And if I called her right now, I mean, it's funny. I should have done it live on the podcast, but then she might get embarrassed. I don't want to do that. But I called her right now. If I said, hey, sister, my knee is really hurting. There's a clicking thing going on in my knee. It's really hurting when I walk around. What do you think it is? Do you know what her answer to me would be? And I have fun with this because I have so many doctors in my family. I'll ask them all. They'll say, man, you should go see a doctor. I'm like, you are a freaking doctor. You have $300,000 in debt because you're a doctor. But the thing is this, I understand. My sister she went through 6 years. First of all, she got a doctorate in pharmacy. Then she went to 4 years of med school. But that was a decade ago. So where she would have been learning the general training of knees hurt, elbows hurt, this hurt, that's hurt, that was so long ago, she's forgotten. But for the last 6, 7, 8 years, maybe more, last 10 years, all she's done is radiology things. She's read films, looked at tests, studied those, diagnosed. So she's damn good at that. I mean, when I go to a radiologist, when I go to get a test on a X-ray or whatever, I always send to her, and boom, she can read it like this. So the truth behind that is, it is the vocational training that's led her to become an expert as a radiologist. It's the time on the job, and I'm glad that she had the foundational training as a doctor. But did she need 8 years of foundational training? I don't know. I argue not. As an engineer, where are you going to learn more? I mean, if you got a couple of years of hardcore training and then went off and actually worked at a job for a little while, worked as an intern under someone, wouldn't you maybe learn and be at the same level a few years later as someone who gets a degree? So, then I went and I said, okay, let's go look at jobs. What are the options out there for people that would be more vocational type of training that don't require college degrees, and what do they earn? So check this out. It's really cool. A dental hygienist does not require a college degree. All right. It requires training, but you can do that in a couple of years. That's vocational training. $74,000 a year. That's the median pay. That's higher than college graduates. Okay, fine. Let's see here. Web developer, don't need a college degree. $69,000. You need some vocational training. I'm not going to ask my web developer if they have a degree. I don't care. I want to see their work. $69,000 average pay. Let's look at some other ones. Electrician. A little vocational schooling, usually about a year or so, short apprenticeship after that with somebody, and you're ready to go. Median pay, $55,000 a year. It's above the average pay of a college graduate, and they don't have $200,000 in debt. Plumber, same thing, vocational, $53,000 a year. A paralegal or a legal assistant, don't need the college degree, $50,000 a year. A commercial driver, $50,000 a year. HVAC technician, $47,000 a year. Heavy equipment operator. I don't know what the hell that is. $47,000. Oh, okay, I guess construction equipment and stuff. $47,000 a year. Computer programming. As a matter of fact, my assistant came to me right before I filmed this episode, and she said, you know what? My husband does not have a college degree. but he's a very high-level programmer, very successful. A programmer does not need it. $84,000 a year. Commercial pilots is very expensive to get, so I'm not going to use that as an example because this is like probably need $200,000 in education there. Let's see, what else I got? Electrical engineering. Well, you need an engineering degree. I'm just looking at some numbers like graphic designer. Vocational training would be great, $50,000 a year. So my question is, why can't we give college and universities competition? Why can't we, as a government, set up actual vocational training centers? You want to be an electrician? You want to be a plumber? You want to be an artist? You want to be a programmer? You want to be a legal assistant? Let's set up actual vocational training centers. And they're there. They're there. It's not like these don't exist, right? Like, obviously, these are there. But let's pummel some money into them, man. Let's give college and universities a run for their money. Let's give people graduating another option. That's what Lurn's doing. I want to give everyone another option here. I want come to Lurn. We're starting something pretty soon called a startup incubator. We're actually starting a virtual incubator at Lurn that allows you to join us for a year. And we'll incubate you in your business for a year. So in a year, we'll teach you how to be an entrepreneur. And you know what? It's probably going to cost $10,000, $12,000. Maybe less. You don't need to spend $200,000. We'll teach you all the skill sets you need to be able to launch multiple businesses in the course of a year. Because I believe in this. I want to be participating in the vocational training facility. Eventually next year or the year after, we're thinking about launching a direct marketing, a digital marketing school. Again, another 1-year program. Come to us. Your tuition for the whole year is like 10 grand. We help you do a career change. We'll upgrade you from whatever you're earning to helping create a digital marketer out of you. Average salary, probably $60,000, $70,000 a year. If you're right now working a job as an assistant, making 40 grand a year, come to us, train with us for a year, get certified. We'll help place you in jobs for $70,000 a year, $30,000 a year, a $30,000 a year increase in pay, and the whole thing costs you 10 grand. Vocational training in my solution. So that's why it's a capitalistic approach. Let's use supply and demand. Let's use competition to solve this problem once and for all, rather than just simply cut a big check and hence only incentivize universities and colleges to keep going the way they're going. 40% of graduates take jobs that didn't need a degree. Colleges and universities should be held responsible. If I'm paying you $200,000, get me a damn job. Get me a job that pays more than enough to justify, right? I just compared an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree. They make $16,000 more a year. It's impressive. I get it. But man, you were going to spend a lifetime paying that debt back. So how much are you netting again? How much are you netting? And what if you just get damn good at your job? Will someone really give a crap? Yeah, the big corporates care. So one last point. Why do I like college? Why do I even think about college? What have I learned? The true value of someone who goes to college and university is they learn to live. They learn decision making. They've shown me that they committed to something. They had to have studied hard if they graduated. They had to have worked hard. They took tests. They learned how to work with other people, peer to peer. Maybe they took some internships. So what they've done is they've gotten some experience. But hell, if I had someone come to me tomorrow and say, I got a degree in marketing, this person here, and this person comes and says, I don't have a degree, but I've been working as a copywriter for Agora for the last 2 years. Here's my copy examples, and I'm looking for a copywriter. Here's a person with a degree in marketing, and here's a person that says 2 years of vocational training at Agora Publishing. Here's 17 pieces of copy I've written. All day long, I'm hiring this person. I'm hiring the experience all day long. I want to challenge what other companies out there would be willing to follow along. Now, again, I'm not completely knocking college. College and universities have their place. My challenge is, can we finally give them a run for their money so that we can evolve? You know, it's the only industry, it's the only market that's not evolved at all. It needs disruption. It's time. Let's make it happen, entrepreneurs. I'm doing my part. I'm trying. If anyone else has a solution, go out. Come on, make it happen. All right? So there you go. That's Freedom Friday. You want to fight for our freedom? I think we need an evolution in our college system. I completely agree with everyone. It's out of freaking control, and it's not going to get better because the numbers don't make sense. The numbers don't make sense. The amount I'm paying for a degree and the amount I'm making extra for that degree, they just don't match up. And so at some point, people will catch on, and they'll stop paying it. And it's all going to implode. And this Ponzi scheme of a thing with $1.56 trillion in student debt is just going to melt away. And guess who will pay for it in the end? Taxpayers. And it ain't going to be the rich. Sorry to say this, but I've proven it again and again in many episodes. When it says the taxpayers pay, it always ends up being the middle class. Because the rich just don't have, believe it or not, they don't have enough money. You can tax the rich until you're blue in the face. You ain't going to get $1.56 trillion. Just not. So it's going to end up being the middle class. That's the majority of the population. That's the majority of taxes. That's where you can raise the most money. Let's do it through competition, guys. Let's do it through good old capitalism. This is Anik Singal reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Come on, freedom fighters. Come on, fighting entrepreneurs. Let's make it happen. Go out there, fight for your dreams. I will see you on the next episode. Tell everyone about this. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment, click subscribe, click the bell icon, click the thumbs up icon. And if you're listening on iTunes or any of the other platforms, make sure you leave us a positive review at iTunes. Tell everyone you know about the fighting entrepreneur. Let's spread the message, grow this community. This is Anik Singal signing off. See you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.